Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I have with me Darlene Greene, and let me tell you about her background. So Darlene has over 26 years of experience in executive leadership and senior management, and has held positions across a diverse industries, including Vice President of Strategic Technology at McAfee, Dean of Culver Girls Academy, Director of Client Services for High-Tech Networks and Security, and Senior Director, LifeWave Foundational Cell Activation Technology. During her 20 years of military experience, she earned her MBA and held 3 commanding officer positions, including serving as a base commander and overseeing over 1,200 personnel in multiple departments. Darlene created the Returning Warrior Weekend Workshop in 2006 to help her military friends and spouses reinvigorate or reintegrate successfully, and is still in existence across the U.S. today. Her passion is helping people elevate their GHK-CU Peptide to activate foundational cells, repair their DNA, reverse age, and get out of pain through the latest biomodulation technology. I'm very excited to have and welcome Darlene Greene. Darlene, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you for having me, and thank you for all that you do, all the good in the world that you put out, every single podcast. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for that. And we talked a little bit before this started about my interest in this, and before we get into all of the great things that you're doing, I wanted to just ask you to share where you live.
I live in Chandler, Arizona, which is just south of Phoenix.
Yeah, it's hot days, cold nights right now.
It's not too bad, 88 degrees right now, but it feels cooler than that. It's a dry heat.
Yes, I know.
But I really do enjoy it here. I love it.
That's awesome. I actually was asked to speak in Phoenix in March, I think it was, and I'm not going to go there.
Oh, March is so beautiful. It's a great time to be here.
All right, so explain to the audience that may not be familiar with all of this, what is GHK-CU, and how do these foundation cell activation patches that you put on your body work?
I will. Thank you. So if you would have asked me 2 or 3 months ago, I would have just told you that I help to activate stem cells. However, the FDA came out recently and said, stem cells, even the ones in your own body, are a drug. So we can no longer, even though we have double-blind placebo-controlled studies that talk about how this patch will elevate and activate your dormant stem cells, I can't speak to that. So what I can speak to is the fact that it elevates and activates your GHK-CU peptide. And GHK-CU peptide is perhaps one of the most remarkable peptides in your body. One of the things that it does is it activates and increases stem cells. It also produces growth factors, protects lungs. It's an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. It protects brain and nerves. In fact, it actually alters anti-anxiety, anti-aggression, anti-pain. this peptide has been studied for 50 years. So there are tons of double-blind placebo-controlled studies. If you actually Google PubMed, you can learn all about how it actually helps with growth of new blood vessels. Great studies on the heart that I want to make sure I talk to. GHK-CU is used in anti-cancer for colon cancer. It resets the programmed cell death of human cancer cells, including neuroblastoma, leukemia, breast cancer cells, but it does not affect healthy cells. And it inhibits what's called NF-κB P65, which promotes cancer and repairs damaged DNA. It resets 84 genes to growth or cancer inhibition. Real good for your hair, your skin. A lot of people are seeing GHK-CU in creams for their face because of the increase in collagen and reducing fine lines and wrinkles. But collagen is the most abundant protein in your body. And so we have collagen throughout all the cells throughout. And so when you are looking younger, it's actually an outward inflammation or indication of the things that are going on inside of you. So there are books that can speak to. Here's a book called How to Reverse Aging by Dr. John Harmon, A Comprehensive Guide to Copper Peptides. He goes in and he talks about all the different ways you can get copper peptides, and that includes injections or creams or the patches. I've heard a doctor say 4 injections in a day did not hit the levels of increase that you get from this X39 patch and increasing that copper peptide. So how does it work? It's such a kind of an amazing concept. It's actually very simple. Light therapy has been around for 5,000 years. We've actually used it forever. You know that when you walk outside and you go in the sun, your body makes vitamin D. And most people know that. Most people certainly know that if you go outside, your body will have melanin and create a suntan. So it's this same technology. And what they may forget is, if I looked at you with night vision goggles on, Vicki, I would see light. You have light inside of you. And so what this is doing, it's like a little mirror. It's a non-transdermal patch. That means nothing is going in the skin. It's made of organic materials and nanocrystals that creates this little lattice structure that's like a little mirror that's reflecting your own light back, but at a very specific wavelength that's causing this targeted and beneficial biochemical response. And that's called photobiomodulation. It's a big word, but it really just is, hey, just like we elevate your vitamin D or your melanin, we're elevating copper peptide, which is activating those stem cells throughout your whole body. And in fact, the company's been around 20 years. We've done a ton of research on stem cells, but the energy enhancers, which was the first patch that came out, this was worn by over 300 Olympic athletes in the 2008 Olympics. There are recently a podcast of Ivory Sully talking about the fact that Tom Brady wears these patches. So they're very, very safe. They have no contraindications. You can use them with any medicine that you're on, any modality of therapy that you're on. And, they have people that wear the X39 patch find that they experience, usually within 3 to 6 weeks, they feel it, some even faster. I mean, we have one patch miracles, but we have typically what they will see in the double-blind placebo-controlled study, they'll see 4,000 genes reset to their younger, earlier, healthy state. And then people will start to experience things like rapid pain relief, reduced inflammation, really, really fast wound healing, increased energy and vitality, mental clarity, sports performance improves, faster recovery from exercise, which I love because I've had fibromyalgia, and improved skin appearance. So, we got into this because my husband has early Alzheimer's, and we had gone out of country 4 different times in a year for IV stem cell therapy. And it didn't affect him. It made no difference. We tried hyperbaric chamber, and that didn't make any difference. We tried ozone therapy and blood spinning therapy, and we did the Dr. Bredesen protocol, and we pulled everything out of the diet that was, white sugar, white flour, anything genetically modified, no alcohol, no soda. We did strength training. We really cleaned up as much as you could do. We just didn't see any changes. And he was at a point, Vicki, where I kind of lost him. He was sleeping most of the day. He was sleeping probably 3.5 hours a day, plus then falling asleep at 7 at night. He was no longer really engaging in conversation. It was just too hard for him. And if he did, he was like 3 conversations behind. He was asking me the same questions like 7 times in 3 minutes, which is very hard as a care provider. And we tried these patches in the very first week. He didn't sleep. He didn't fall asleep through, no naps. He didn't fall asleep at 7 p.m. So he had all this energy. He was chatty like a dam had broken open. Like all of a sudden he had 2 years worth of stuff to say, and it was all going to come out in this week. And so he was really chatty, very engaged, so much more with it. So he was replying appropriately. He didn't always get the right words, but he was making the effort, and he wasn't asking me the same questions over and over again. And he was funny again. He was his core personality has always been to be funny. And when he wasn't even trying to be funny anymore, that was like a shell of himself. So he was finally back to his funny and flirty self. And then we just kept seeing improvements. Like the second week, he got the best recorded deep sleep. We had been working on all sorts of things, and they would only get him 15 minutes. And all of a sudden he got an hour and 25 minutes. At the 2.5-month mark, he was able to whistle again, drum to the beat. His blood pressure dropped 37 points. And then at the 5-month mark, he regained his sense of smell. And this was huge because it had been lost 15 years ago. So that's a really good neuro. And I want to speak to the fact that there is a study. I mean, so this was my husband. So I got to see this, right? But I also got to experience it. So there's a study, a 2019 SciTech study, and people can see it on my website. They can click and they can actually read the whole study. But it shows 3 EEGs, and the EEGs show the brain, and the first circle shows redness, and red is bad. Red is inflammation. Red is anxiety. It's ADHD. It's PTSD. It's inflammation. It's not good communication between the left and right hemisphere. And so what they found is they put that X39 patch on people, and 3 weeks later, the colors are changing. The yellows and the greens and the blues are coming in, and it's just amazing. So, and then 6 weeks later, a whole new picture. So much more balanced. And so the findings actually showed in the double-blind placebo-controlled study that yes, it increased GHK-CU, but it supported cell and nerve regeneration. It balanced the brain. It improved coherence. It improved the nervous system, anxiety lowered. It decreased brain inflammation. It improved memory, focus, brain function, and in fact, it increased and improved task processing ease and speed. And the more complex the problem, the better the improvement.
Oh, wow.
So really amazing. And I got to see that in my husband, but I also got to feel it because I was in a state of depression. I was sad. My husband had Alzheimer's. I had broken my foot. I had sprained my ankle. I was in a chair for 5 months. I wasn't able to exercise. And I wanted to cry every day. And it just lightened my mood. It lifted my spirits. I felt so much more energetic. I was getting good sleep again. It got the ice wave patches got me out of pain, which was just amazing. So I got to see it, but I got to experience it as well.
Awesome. So we went through the benefits, so that's helpful.
Well,
but
we didn't hit the heart. Can I tell you about the heart?
Okay. Yeah, tell me about the heart.
Yeah. So this is amazing. There was a heart study that was done where they wore the patch for 6 weeks. And in 6 weeks, the participants saw improvement in their overall vascular system. Well, part of our vascular system includes the cardiovascular system. And what they found was in 6 weeks, the cardiovascular system began to function as if it were 8 weeks younger.
Wow.
8 weeks younger. In fact, the doctor that wrote this book, Dr. John Harmon, he had a right branch bundle blockage, which is very serious. It decreases your lifespan tremendously. And the doctors will say there's just nothing we can do for that. The cardiologist will tell you there's no cure, there's no surgery that can fix that. And but in about 14 months after wearing the patch, he wore 2 patches, the X39 patch, which is the copper peptide activating and therefore stem cell activating patch, and EON, which is a reducing inflammation. These 2 together were able to clear that right branch bundle blockage in like 14 months. And the doctors were just astonished. They had no idea and said, that's sort of impossible. Don't know how that happens. But what we know is inflammation eats up stem cells. So if you're if your body's filled with inflammation, which most of our bodies are because of the food we eat or the air we drink or the water the air we breathe, the water we drink, all of our stress, all of these things, injuries, they all cause inflammation, right? So we want to reduce inflammation and increase our copper peptide for stem cell activation.
Yeah, and when you reduce inflammation, you heal faster too. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And there's hair growth. I mean, you can kind of see I have all these little baby hairs, baby sprout. They're not laying down. My husband's bald spot closed in, and he had dark, actually chestnut brown hair coming in. I've never known him to have chestnut brown hair. He's always had like gray or blondish hair. And so this is just kind of fascinating to watch this little hole close up for the first time, because he's had a bald spot that big since I've met him 20 years ago.
Yeah, this sounds like my one of my anti-aging products does that too. And it's like, okay, well, I'll take the brown hair over the gray any day. Thank you very much.
That's right.
So you talked early on about your military background, and you were in the Navy, and I'd love to know about the journey that you were in. So talk about how your experiences in the Navy and how maybe that has helped you in this journey that you're on now. Thank
you. Yes. The Navy, I had a different job for 20 years in the Navy, about every year or every other year. I think it was probably the 13th, 14th, or 15 year mark where I finally realized, bring it on. I can do it. Whatever you need me to do, I can do that. Before then, every time I changed to a new job, I would think, oh my gosh, I don't know this language. I don't know these people. I don't know what they're doing. And you're putting me in charge of them. Are you crazy? But at some point, you finally develop a sense of confidence that, okay, I really have this. And that was actually really helpful. When I left the Navy, I popped into technology. I'd had a technology company or department that had worked for me, but not into the gritty levels. And the person that hired me said, look, we can teach you the technology, but we cannot teach these technologists the leadership part that you have. So it was a really great fit, and I really enjoyed that. Did the network and security and stuff, and then popped over to be in the software at McAfee as a vice president. I was doing something I'd never done before, and I was initially told by the HR officer, I'm sorry, you have a very impressive resume, but I just don't see you as a good fit for this job because I didn't meet any of the criteria that was laid out on this form. None of it, like 15 years of architectural engineering. No, SaaS and CRM. No, didn't even know what the words were. Had to look them up in a book. So but I knew what had been described was that they actually needed help in customer service, process, leadership, communication, the things I actually was very good at. And so the CIO was telling the HR officer, I want an interview with her. And she'd say, no. She does not meet the criteria. Finally got interviewed. Finally, he said, I see, I don't actually have a problem with software. I have a problem with all these things that you're really good at. And I would love to keep one. So did that, then went to go be the dean of a girls' school. And that was a totally different one-off. So what the Navy gave me was a thirst for knowledge, a willingness to learn quickly, a willingness to try and be open-minded about things, a love for people, and it's very humbling, right? You're surrounded by 18-year-olds that are running aircraft carriers, so you're very much surrounded by all sorts of phenomenal people in the Navy, and that has been, and of course you learn a lot of discipline, a very good work ethic, a lot of integrity. All of these things are very important to me. The other thing it did for me is I've never much been into doing a job for profit. It's not my goal. It's not what I want to do is take care of people. The Navy taught me it's in your DNA to take care of people, and you hold them accountable, and you mentor them, and you teach, and you grow. And so in those ways, I think when faced with the challenge of my own health initially too, and then my husband's health, it was like, okay, we're not getting good answers in Western medicine. They just want to throw drugs and pharmaceuticals at me, and that, that's not working, and it doesn't work. The only drug that's really out there for Alzheimer's causes brain bleed in 50% of people with his APOE4/4 type. That's not happening. So what else is out there? So you could see we tried all of these various things, and I wasn't willing to give up and just roll over and play dead. It's like, no, let's fight this. Let's take charge of our health. Let's do what we can do. If it only slows the progression, which actually we've seen some reversals that are really amazing. And I want to make sure it's clear, he is not cured by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I have to make the disclaimer that LifeWave products are not intended to cure, treat, diagnose, or prevent disease. They're a wellness product, even if they do actually do those things. But this Navy background just gave me a drive. You run into obstacles and you figure out solutions. You run into a wall, you figure out how to go around it or over it or dig under it. You just figure out how to get the job done, get the mission done with people around you who can help you.
Yeah. And never stop asking.
Right.
Time is flying by, but we'll have to have you back and talk a little bit more on how things progressed. But who can wear this cell and what kind of cost? Because, is it something that their insurance covers, or is it all out of pocket? I'm sure that's going through the audience mind right now.
It's a great question. And I'll tell you that the X39 sleeve, this is a sleeve that has 30 patches in it. You wear it 12 hours on, and then you throw it away, or you put it on a loved one or any living creature in your house, like any little furry friends. You could actually put it on. They're very safe. So 30-day supply is $99. It's $150 retail. Nobody buys retail. So it's $99. It doesn't require a prescription. It gets mailed to your house. My web, you can order it right from the website. You can order a 3-month supply of these for $299. Or what I recommend is actually 2 months of this and 2 months of the Eon.
Right, for the pain.
So that's for $299. The Eon is for the inflammation. If you have pain, you definitely want this ice wave. So then you could get 2 X39, and an Eon and an ice wave for $299. And then, so you can build the package however you would like. And I love that flexibility. And there's some package ideas on my website. People can reach out to me. I'm happy to do a free consultation, especially if they say,
I was going to ask about that.
Vicki sent me or whatever. Would love to let them not only have some time to talk through whatever they're personally experiencing, but I also have a meeting that I can set up with my pharmacist doctor friend if they're also interested in having a doctor's perspective.
Sure. That sounds awesome. So I'm going to give I think I have time for both of my rapid fire. So what are 3 tips you would give to those that learn that their loved one has early Alzheimer's? You've gone through that. It's a scary thing. I've had both my husband's grandfather and my grandfather had Alzheimer's. And it's a sad thing to see the people you love no longer know you any longer. So talk to us about 3 things that would at least help them in this journey that they're about to embark on.
I would say that the most important thing you can do is get them patched and get you patched right away to help you manage through it and to help them be the best version of themselves that they can be. That would be my number 1 most important recommendation. The other one is, you have to put your life oxygen mask on first. You have to take care of yourself along the way, because it's a 24/7 all day evolution, and it's exhausting and it's frustrating and it's hard. And all the care providers out there who are taking care of people, no matter what it is, my heart goes out to you, because I really do understand how hard this is. And my heart hurts a little for you, because it's just really, it's hard to, you lose the loved one repeatedly in various versions, right? So you have to take care of yourself along the way. And that includes doing things, making sure you're getting good sleep, making sure you're taking time to exercise, making sure you're eating right, but also having a support group, having fun, having friends, having someone you can pick up the phone and go, oh my gosh, if I have to go through this one more time, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind.
So true.
You need to be able to do that. And I guess the third one would be, don't just constrain your information and research to Western medicine. The the doctors that we have, God bless them, they are working hard, and I'm not knocking them at all, but they come through schools that are curriculum is built by pharmaceutical companies. They are taught how to do drugs and how to operate.
Yeah.
That's really it. So the 5,000 years of light therapy, they never hear about it. Nutrition, they never hear about it. Pulse electronic magnetic therapy, they never hear about it. There are other modalities that can provide extremely beneficial results. So don't just limit. If I were to limit, I basically would have gone, the Banner Alzheimer's Clinic said this is where he is today. Come back in a year. We'll see how he is in a year. That was it. Nothing else they could do for me. So don't just accept it and roll over and, that's it.
Yep. Yeah, that's, I'm dealing with, not with Alzheimer's, but with a debilitating issue with my mom, and it's the person that's my mom, and she's listening to this. I love you, Mom, but you're not the same person you were, and if we can get her back to where she was, that would be awesome.
Yeah it goes for you. I understand.
So I'm going to share my screen. If you all have been as intrigued and interested in what's been shared today, and want to get in contact, and I would suggest to try to do a consultation, that just don't get the product without having a discussion with her. But I'm going to give you contact information for Darlene.
And if they do, by the way, when they do buy, I can tell when somebody buys a product, and I always reach out by email and say, hey, here's, let's make sure you drink lots of water. I'm here to answer your questions. I connect with anybody who buys product.
Excellent. So for those that are just listening, if you haven't gone and run and got that paper pencil, as you should have done from the very beginning, I remind you every time. It's time for you to get the information that I'm going to read. It will be available on my findyourleadershipconfidence.com, as well as my YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling. But if you're listening or watching, you can get a screenshot right now. If you're listening, it's https:// I am reverseaging.com. I am reverseaging.com. For Facebook, you can go to darlene.bennett.greene, and LinkedIn is Darlene Greene, and Greene is spelled with an E for those that are just listening. Again, Darlene Greene on LinkedIn. I'm going to let Darlene talk to you about that website, and she did mention some of the things you'll see on it, but I'll let her go into more detail.
Thank you, Vicki. The website is robust with not only the over 90 clinical studies that you can dive into and see, but you can also look at the patents. You can see videos on how does this work. You can hear the inventor talking to practitioners and getting very medically, discussed. But you can also listen to some testimonials, people from NFL players to doctors talking. There's a lot, and there's even a video on horses showing there's a line of ice wave, which is that pain relief for veterinarians and animal owners, and you can see how it works. Basically, I think it's called Horses Don't Lie. It's a great little video. So there's just a ton to look at and see there. You could spend a day looking at all of it. And then you can also reach out to me there.
Yeah, the videos are very good. I went through a few of them. And I love the fact that it is available for animals, because, especially I would think dogs, large dogs, the hips start to go, and they're anything you can do to help your pups, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. A lot of people I find are faster to patch their pets than they are themselves. Right?
Yeah.
Anything for their pets, right?
Yeah, for sure. As always, thank you so much for being wonderful guests and sharing wonderful information, tips, and insights, sharing a little bit about your story so that we can, maybe make more informed decisions on how we can help ourselves as well as those we love.
Thank you,
both
Vicki.
Human and animals.
That's right. That's right.
So as always, I remind you, life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.